Good morning, welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 18th of April 2026. Orban out on his ear to bring EU cheer. Many don't like what they hear from Sir Keir about why he didn't steer clear of the queer peer. Another Labour peer expresses fear that it could all end in tears if we don't raise defence spending by a few tiers. Despite Trump's cavalier veneer, peace between Iran and America appears to be not near, although Hormuz may for now be clear. Trump's relations with Leo get thornier. Dodgy lawyers help migrants stay here. McIlroy the Master for a second straight year. On Sunday evening, Hungary announced that Viktor Orban in their election was trounced. For the traditional Western allies, such good news, the demise of a leader with anti-West views. But for the White House and Kremlin, a real kicker, seeing the ousting of Putin's arse licker. Peter Magyar's majority was fairly hefty, but the new PM ain't no progressive lefty. His right-wing leaning, though, is closer to Brussels, more brains on display than brawn and muscles. Hungary should be less hungry for EU tussles, less inclined to cause wanton hustle and bustle. The talks between the USA and Iran, held in the capital of Pakistan, ended as most observers had expected, given how mutually they are disrespected. Both parties were determined to go in hard, and negotiations collapsed like a pack of cards. Scratching below the surface of a positive facade, the 21-hour-long talks had been a charade. America has now formed its own blockade on the Strait of Hormuz till peace progress is made, and by the end of the week the strait had reopened. Or was Trump just expressing what he was hoping? Meanwhile, Israel and Lebanon, for now, are at peace. From Thursday 10 p.m, hostilities ceased. Initially, explosions seen and heard in Beirut suggested that the talks had not borne fruit. But those bangs causing a start were actually the start of welcoming good news, as they do in these parts. Trump loves talking things up, talking up chances, as if each word from his mouth somehow enhances the chances of the outcome he's banking on, as seems to be the case this time with Lebanon. Meanwhile, Trump launched himself onto a slippery slope by turning his temper onto the Pope. The Pope had criticized tyrants causing wars. No specific names mentioned in his discourse, but it hit a nerve, and Trump jumped in with both feet to justify why Iran must suffer defeat, suggesting Leo lacked courage and worldly wisdom, not standing up to Iran in its quest for its bomb. With each Trump jibe, tension increases between the political and religious big cheeses. The Pope finds the president's actions egregious, with perceived imperialism on a level of Caesar's. Posting a picture of himself as Jesus is the kind of stunt that unnerves and uneases. He soon removed it, but no apology was made, and the bad taste stayed from such bad taste displayed, and the evangelicals in his base were dismayed. No doubt they prayed that his sins aren't repaid. 29th of July 2024, a day in British history that remains so raw. when a tailor-made dance class on a sun-soaked day became a blood-soaked scene that will never go away. Details were heard when the murderer faced court, but on Monday came phase 1 of a report, with experts' thoughts and reasons sought on why the tragedy happened in Southport. Perhaps the report's biggest shock is the claim that the killer's parents should take a lot of blame, hiding their son's behaviour to hide their own shame, granting him free rein till that fateful day came. On Tuesday, George Robertson, the Labour peer, said the Strategic Defence Review caused him great fear. He didn't mince his words, put it blatantly. The UK's been showing downright complacency. How to share spending between welfare and warfare is a debate that often causes despair, a polarising affair that gets nowhere, especially when the government cupboard is bare. Fans of welfare say they're just showing they care, helping the vulnerable to get their fair share, while the defence is we have to prepare because the likes of Putin see a weakness as a dare. On Wednesday, exposed by a BBC expose, were some lawyers operating in the UK who were helping asylum seekers to stay by making untruthful claims that they were gay. And with these false claims, they were able to claim it wasn't safe for them to go back whence they came. It seems a cottage industry is existing for getting dodgy claimants to cheat the system. Hiring Manson is something that Starmer's regretted. No matter how much he may want, he just can't forget it. On Thursday, The Guardian got the scoop that has left the Prime Minister deep in the soup. In February, he'd said, though he'd come to regret it, that he'd been assured that Mandy had been vetted. His exact words were, due process was followed. Now that's become a statement that's hard to swallow. On Thursday, Foreign Office Chief Ollie Robbins was sacked, which Starmer's critics thought was just bobbins. Monday in the Commons, Keir will address the mess. What happens after that is anyone's guess. On Sunday, Rory roared with defiance. McIlroy's now one of British golf's all-time giants. After years of heartache and a few disasters, he's now won consecutive US Masters, only the fourth ever to achieve such a feat. Last year's win made his set of majors complete, cementing his legacy into concrete.